What is good, y'all? We are back, even though it doesn't seem like we were off very long.
Uh-huh.
The NBA season is back. Obviously, you know what we're talking about. E's here, so it's obviously the E and J Full Court Shop podcast because the basketball season basically already started, but preseason starting tonight. So we got to get right back to it. This team right here is trying to repeat, and we got a lot to talk about because there was a lot going on in these past few weeks. But let's start off with the fact that preseason is tonight. What are your thoughts? What do you think we're going to see through these few preseason games? Because again, it is on a short off season, let's say.
Yeah. Now, I think what you're gonna see is like we know what we're gonna get from superstars. We know, like guys who have them long resumes, you know what you're getting from them. I think this preseason you're gonna see a lot more of the rookies, a lot more of guys that you would normally see, like that'd be end of the bench guys who don't play and stuff like that. You're gonna see a lot more teams giving looks to them because I think once that regular season starts, especially that first month and a half, you're going to see a lot of those guys get a lot more minutes and playing time while you rest these other guys, especially a team like the Lakers who need the AD and LeBron to rest up because Miami and the Lakers have the shortest rest this all season.
Damn right.
So you need your superstars to be well rested going into March.
Yep,
I feel
absolutely.
like you're just going to see a lot more guys you normally see play. Obviously, it's a preseason. You would see them play mostly in the preseason anyway. But I think now's the time to get the big looks into them to see which guys can help you, get some games while you rest a lot of the top guys early in the season.
Exactly. I basically just to go off of what you said, I agree with everything you said. This is really for the time for those rookies to really get into the offense because they're going to need them to get into it kind of quick.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to play around. They're going to have to get into this quick. It's a shortened season, not by much, but it's still a shortened season and a whole different dynamic now. They're not in the bubble, but you still have restrictions on what you can and can't do. So it's still a little different for everybody that's involved. So those rookies are going to have to really step up and do their job while they can because there's not a lot of room for error because they're running right into it. But like I said earlier, there's been a lot of talk coming into this season. A lot of power rankings, a lot of player rankings, a lot of players saying this, a lot of players saying that. Well, we're going to get to the answers. But who's better to tell you what we think about the answers than me and your boy E? So first, let's start off with Pandemic P. $226 million for the next 5 years, which eclipses Anthony Davis, who's making 190 in the next 5 years. Now, last time I checked, Anthony Davis was the top 5 player in the league and an NBA champion and only been on 2 teams.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds.
Pandemic P has been on 3 teams?
Yeah, I think so.
And he got knocked out of the second round to the Nuggets? No disrespect to the Nuggets, but
wait. Not even that. Not even get. It's not about being knocked out. It's about blowing a 3-1 lead.
Sideboard P? That's what I'm about to start calling him. Sideboard P. That's his new nickname for the rest of the season until he fixed that shot. Sideboard P got $226 million. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, when I seen that shit, I just looked like I didn't want to, huh? Here's my thing. Out of everybody on that team, it wasn't just him, but he had the most notable playoff struggles. He struggled the most.
Yes.
And since their elimination, who's the only one who's been talking about the struggles and everything? Paul George.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't make adjustments as a team. They used me in a Ray Allen role. All I heard was excuses.
Yep.
That team did all the talking. They were supposed to be the team that the Lakers couldn't get past, and all this and all that. They couldn't even get to that Laker matchup.
Talking about before.
Him and Kawhi was supposed to be the best duo in the league. Load management. It came out that they had all the privileges. They had to pick when they practiced. They was turning playing time down. Kawhi gets to live in San Diego, which I understand. For your superstars, your top flight superstars, they get leeway.
Yeah.
Who am I to talk as a Laker fan when we had fucking LeBron on our team? We know don't nobody get more leeway than fucking LeBron in the league.
Right. In the league, yeah.
Like the league is built around LeBron. Fucking the Lakers built around them. The league is built around LeBron.
Absolutely.
But like for PG to do most of the talking and basically throw like Doc Rivers under the bus, and now it came out Doc said, not much ain't gonna change because Ty Lue is sitting right next to me. So if you're looking for adjustments, where are they?
Where are they?
And for me, it's like to sign him to that extension. What the fuck is that Clippers owner thinking? Like, you couldn't even trade him in the all season because you wouldn't get equal value. Because the Thunder looked like they stole that boy. They stole them boys for giving him up. Like,
yep,
you got fleeced from the Thunder.
Yep.
And my thing is, what's gonna say a lot about it is, let's say they don't get to where they're supposed to, or even get to the conference finals again. You know who could opt out at the end of the year?
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna tell us a lot.
A claw. Yep. It sure is. It's very interesting to see how that's all going to play out. But Paul George, you went on all the smoke. You asked for all the smoke, so you getting all the smoke.
I got one more thing. It came out that he said he's been doing like he's on his Kobe shit. Don't bring up Kobe now.
Don't bring Kobe into this.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Because Kobe ain't repping that Clippers shit.
That's not gonna help you. That's not gonna help you win some LA back over.
It ain't gonna happen.
It was already established and it ain't gonna change. There's only one team in LA.
Right, exactly.
Keep that shit over there.
Now everything that you said, I agree. And then just to think about his career. Now, don't get me wrong. Paul George is a good player. Not this past season.
Well, of course not.
But he has had great seasons. But I wouldn't pay him max dollars because he's not a max contract player.
Yeah, no.
Prove that.
To go over a little more for what you're saying is he
at least not elite?
Is he an all-star caliber player? Yes.
Right.
I'll even give you this. Did we all think Jimmy Butler going into last season was really a max player? No. Did he prove that he was a max player last year? Absolutely. PG hasn't proved to be a max player.
Right, exactly. And like this is my thing is like you said, Jimmy Butler, when he signed with the Heat, we didn't see him as a max contract player. But did he turn into that for that franchise? Absolutely.
Yes.
PG, this is a problem with PG. One, he would in Jimmy Butler's shoes, he wouldn't be able to do that same thing. He wouldn't be able to bring the Miami Heat to a championship or at least to the finals. Not only that, by himself, he has Kawhi Leonard on his team.
And couldn't get past the second round.
And y'all paid him before you waited to make sure that Kawhi was staying first? Oh, my God. Clippers, I know you're desperate, but damn, I know it gets dark down there in the basement, but damn.
Do you think they looked at the offseason and see what the Lakers did and they were like, fuck, we got to do something. Like,
You gotta lock somebody up.
we
to
got to
make
make
sure
somewhat of a splash.
somebody's
That's not the
gotta
splash
suffer
you
on this.
wanted. That's not the splash you wanted.
Look, if they don't get it done next year or this upcoming season, and they don't even make it to the conference finals,
And I think
Kawhi's out of there.
I think they even hurt themselves more because if you don't get it done and PG proves this is the PG we've seen is what the PG we're gonna get from here on out, you can't even trade him now because of that contract.
He's fucked. You're
So have
fucked.
fun staying with that.
Have fun. And it'll be interesting if they don't win a chip in the next few years, how OKC will be looking with all those picks.
Because I'm gonna tell you this now, even with
Mm.
all those picks, this guy proved it last year. Shy's a nice young player to build around.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. And just to have that experience that he had with all those vets around him, he's only going to get better. He has great experience with those vets like Chris Paul and Adams and whoever else. So it's going to be interesting. But PG, you asked for the smoke, so you got the smoke. So if you keep talking, we going to keep going at you too. So until that changes, we talking shit. And before we go on to the next segment, I just want every non-Laker fan and LeBron hater to know bragging rights are for the entire year. So don't get us with the head. It's a new season. They're not good. They won the chip, and we got bragging rights till whoever knocks us off the pedestal. And it looks like it's going to be real hard to do that shit this year because we got a lot better. But before we get into that, let's go into the ESPN top 100. We won't name all 100, obviously. We'll get into the few, the important ones, the eye-opening ones. And I'll start off with LeBron and AD being at 1 and 2. Now, obviously, for me, I agreed with it. But I had a little bit of throwback with AD being that too, because you could still, there's guys like, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it again, I think it's perfect.
You gotta think of it as that's based off what we seen last year.
Right. It's right.
What exactly. What AD did in the playoffs. Listen, was AD a star before he went to the Lakers? Absolutely. He was a star almost at that superstar level. His move to the Lakers, and it's mostly probably playing with LeBron, elevated him to AD's a superstar now.
He's absolutely a superstar. So, yeah, I agree with 1 and 2. I mean, obviously, LeBron being 1, that was never in question. But AD, like a lot of people have been saying, and like we've been saying, this past playoffs that just occurred was huge for his legacy.
Yes.
Huge for AD's legacy, and it definitely took another notch. Like you said, put him in that superstar talk in as one of the 1 and 2 top players in the NBA. So that's huge. That's a huge leap. Then you got Giannis at 3. That's where I'm like, we're still holding on to these MVPs I see, huh?
Yeah.
And we're still holding on to these regular season MVPs, and we're not looking at the whole thing. I had a problem with it. What do you think?
I understand that. But if we're going to go on based off, like, I think what hurts it the most is there was that break in between.
Yeah.
So we're our recency bias is always going to focus on what we've seen in the bubble. Giannis had a great season.
Absolutely.
I didn't agree with him winning the MVP, obviously not, and Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a great season. So I can understand being that he is a back-to-back MVP winner. I could see him. I could see the argument for him at number 3. There's a couple, definitely 1, maybe 2 guys I would put there instead.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see why number 3 is fine. I prefer him being number 3 than ESPN giving him the overall number 1.
Right. I agree with that. My thing, the reason why, and I agree, like you said, Giannis had a great season, but my thing is he still hasn't progressed when he needs to progress and when it's needed. So regular season, that's great. It gets you to the playoffs. But once you get to the playoffs, how are you going to play from there on? And he has yet to make that adjustment.
I'll even give you this. He wasn't even this season. He wasn't even available in the playoffs for his team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I got a little pushback on there with Giannis. He's going to have to develop a shot and find ways of getting his team past the second round.
Listen,
that's not good.
The big thing with Giannis is that deadline's coming. You signing that extension or not?
I think it all depends on what they do this year. If they make it to the conference finals,
because
and they're competitive, I think he might stay. But if anything shorter than that, I think he's out of there.
There's two guys that kind of just signed 2 extensions in a team that just won the championship that kind of built their extensions around what he would do.
Mm-hmm. Hey, doors open. Hey. The door's open, just not. You see,
I mean,
somebody came downstairs from the basement and came and knocked him.
Somebody came. Somebody found the Chris Paul alleyway over to the other locker room. So
exactly. He said, "You know what? I'm tired of being in the dark. I want to go up where it's real light and gold because they got all this gold shit around here."
Listen, we take former 6 men of the years, a runner-up to that award.
Runner-ups.
We can throw some bread at a
former
two-time MVP.
Defensive player of the years.
We can get some MVPs.
Why not? At number 4, Luka. Now this one, it took me a minute to really feel this one out.
I like Luka being there. I don't like Luka being over Kawhi. Kawhi's at 5 because
that's where I was at.
Kawhi's a Clipper, yes, but we can't front. Kawhi had another fucking great year. He was definitely in the MVP talk.
Yep.
I think what hurt Kawhi in a lot of those numbers was all the load management.
Mm-hmm.
But Luka, we can't front. Did Luka have a great rookie year? Of course. But he went from his rookie year here, and he brought his game to this level. So he definitely deserves to be in the talk for top 5.
He definitely does. But this is where I push back a little bit as far as ESPN with Luka, because I'm okay with him being at 4. Actually, I'm not really. Like you said, Kawhi should be in front of him based off of what he's been able to do.
It would be fine if Kawhi was at 3.
Right. Exactly. Based off of how they have it, we would have things completely different on this list. But I can't even put Luka over KD because I still think KD is going to come back this year and be a top 5 player.
I mean, if you ask me, I've said this before. To me, KD is the best player in the league.
Right. I got him at 2, but
I know why. But KD's the best player in the league to me. Like I said, my reasoning for understanding this list, I look at it as what we've seen. And even though we didn't see KD last year, the name Kevin Durant means something.
Absolutely.
Putting him at 6 is like, listen, we're only not putting him at top 5 because he didn't play this past year.
Exactly.
Because let's be honest, if KD played this past year, AD probably would probably be the one they don't put in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You're right. So I would have had KD based off of how they had LeBron, AD, Giannis. Let's say we leave Giannis there. I would put Kawhi 4, KD 5, and Luka 6. That's how I would have arranged it. Maybe even move Giannis and put KD at 3, or Kawhi at 3, then KD, and then Luka. That's how I would have rearranged it, but it's all kind of cool. Then they got Dame time at number 7. Now obviously his team had a slow start to the season, but they bounced back and he went on a tear and got his team into the playoffs. Obviously, they had to go up against the Lakers, so it wasn't an easy, matchup for them, and they had their little issues. But Dame showed up. Dame time came alive, and he showed why he was paid the money he was paid. Do you agree with him being that high at 7 in front of guys like Curry, Harden, and Jokic, PG?
Don't ever ask me, do I believe he should be over PG? Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm just throwing more shade at PG.
PG should be, and I'm going to say it, PG should be in the Kyle Kuzma range.
Whoo, disrespectful. God damn.
But Dame, I respect Dame. Dame's probably like my favorite non-Laker.
Mm-hmm.
I like him being over there. Steph's another guy. You could use the Kevin Durant argument. He didn't play, so Harden. Yeah, I can see Harden. That argument for Harden. It's just hard with Harden because a lot of us don't like his game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Does he get the points? Yes, but it's the flopping and the fouls. The one name that I think deserves to be higher because of the performance, especially in the bubble, Jimmy fucking buckets.
Thank you, because he's 12th on the list, and I couldn't understand how he doesn't.
Top 10? Are you bugging?
How does he not make top 10?
Did we see? Like, granted, did Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson have a coming out party in the bubble? Absolutely.
Right.
Did Bam show that he's a future star? Yes.
Yep.
They were led by Jimmy Butler.
Led by him. Without him, they were nothing. He led that team to victories they had no business being in. But he used every ounce of everything he had and got his team 2 wins. 2 wins against that Laker team when they were injured. So you got to give credit when credit is due. Curry, mad respect to you, but you barely played this season.
Yeah.
And obviously it showed. Even when you came back, it showed. The Heat weren't expected to be there. And they weren't even expected to make the playoffs. And they got there. And not only did they get there, they made it to the finals.
Let's go back to what we just said in the beginning of this podcast. We didn't think we thought they were crazy for signing him to the max.
Yep, exactly. And he made everyone that questioned it rethink it because he fucking deserved it.
He was worth every penny.
Every fucking penny. That was a match made in heaven. Him going to Miami. Match made in heaven.
He changed. Let's be honest. The Miami team where we were used to was that big 3 team. They were a flashy superstar team.
Yep.
Has that team been changed? Yes, but you could tell that culture was perfect for him.
Exactly.
He is the dog of all dogs.
Yep. Very true. All right, so those are just the quick ones that we wanted to get into. Well, obviously, they're going to make more rankings as the season goes along. Now we'll get into free agency / power rankings. Now, there was a lot of splashes.
Oh, let's be honest. Only one team won the offseason. That was the Lakers.
Yeah, I heard that. But I don't think it was a great free agency as far as last year. Last year, we saw so many different moves, and it made the NBA better.
We didn't have – I think what hurts is the time. Nobody had time.
Right, exactly.
It was just like crunched into 1 week, and it was like –
right. You had the draft. You had free agency. You had a lot crunched into one time. But I will say that a lot of teams got better.
Yes. Based
off of free agency and the draft. So we'll basically get into that. Let's start off with the winners, the Lakers. What do you think of the moves? Obviously, we know they were good, but what do you personally think about that move, those moves?
I'm not gonna lie. When they signed Montrezl Harrell, that was the move that dead had me like, huh? What? Who? How?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and to be honest, I didn't know about the fit because I'm like, all right, we lost Dwight. I thought Dwight would have been back.
Right.
Dwight left.
Almost.
I'm not Dwight. That was Dwight being Dwight. I'm not even listen. He came back, did what he had to do. We won a chip. Thank you, Dwight. Good luck in Philly.
Absolutely.
The move I loved the Dennis Schroeder move.
Woo!
Danny Green didn't do what he was supposed to do. I'm not gonna be one of the. Was I hard on him? Yes, but I wasn't one of the people that was, fucking
Shipping.
calling for his fucking head because he missed the three. I was mad, but that was it. That was a good move considering we needed a point guard. You got the runner-up to the sixth man of the year, somebody who can score while LeBron's on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
You bring him in, he's actually younger.
Before you go on, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you heard about this.
Him wanted to start.
He wants to start.
His ass better take that bench roll and relax. All right, my man, take that bench roll and relax.
I couldn't wait to hear what your thoughts were on that one.
Coming over here and barking orders. That's not how it works. Yeah, I like the pickup of him. But yeah, him and Montrezl Harrell, I was like, why? How? Signing Wesley Matthews, I think, is good. He's pretty much a wash of Danny Green.
Mm-hmm.
So that replaces that. We lost Rondo. That's somebody I didn't want us to definitely lose.
Right.
But
you
got to look at it as Rondo's another year older.
Mm-hmm.
Go get you won 2 chips already. Go do what you got to do. Go help that Atlanta team. But I think, to be honest, we got better because we got younger.
For sure.
And do we have the same rim protection? No. But let's not forget, everybody goes, oh, we lost Dwight and JaVale. We had 3 rim protectors. AD, who could have won Defensive Player of the Year.
Should have.
Still got Braun.
See what he did in the bubble.
KCP, bringing back him was a big move because to be honest, he probably was like the 3rd best player on the team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would say between him and Rondo.
Still got Alex Caruso. Show my man some love.
Hey, let's get it, baby.
We still got your favorite Laker player, Kyle Kuzma.
I don't go that far. I support him sometimes, but
somebody who I thought would have been, gone.
I did too. I thought Kuz would have been gone, but for whatever reason, they decided to keep him. Hey, who knows if they try to move him before trade deadline?
Yeah, but now I definitely think the moves we made are perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I think they made the moves. Not only did they make the moves to try to compete again, but they made the moves to win it again. This is not a one-trick pony type of thing.
Listen, when teams usually win a championship, they either bring everybody back and keep it as is, or they lose everybody and try to refill it with younger guys. We didn't. I feel like we went after, we got some key role players and dogs to help us attack this run back. Let's run it back.
Shout out to Rob Pelinka, because he was getting killed last year, but it wasn't all his fault because
he was getting killed. He got snubbed for Executive of the Year.
Exactly. And if you don't get it this year, we're going to have to go down there and talk to these motherfuckers because something up. Rob Pelinka deserves all the credit in the world because last year he made the mistake, and it was deservingly a smart mistake, to wait for Kawhi. Why not? He just came off of a championship. Why not wait for him? If he wants to come play for us, we'll wait. But he didn't sign with them. They still made up for it. They signed the right guys just in time. It turned into a championship. This year, I ain't doing that shit. We gonna get them right now. Who wants to be a championship player? And they got them all. And I loved it. I fucking loved it. Like you said, Montrezl Harrell, that was a shock. But then once you think about it, we've heard all year that there was problems with Montrezl Harrell in that team because he wasn't feeling how they was working. How PG and Kawhi, who haven't done shit for the Clippers, was walking around like they had won 3 chips there.
I'll give you this too. What makes it feel better? The reaction of Patrick Beverley.
What?
All that yapping. You lost your mans.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised If the same thing continues in that locker room with PG and Kawhi getting special treatment, which I think they will, Lou Williams will be the next one out of there.
There's reports saying that
he was another one that had problems with it.
There's reports that they're most likely going to trade him.
Lou Will, if we can make room for you, come upstairs. It's always lighter upstairs.
Hey, he was there before.
We'll take you back. You take you back. You deserve a ring, Lou. You deserve a ring. As one of the greatest six men of all time, you deserve a ring so you can just go out in the sunset, baby.
And before you say anything about any other teams in the offseason, since we're doing the offseason, I got to give a shout out to two guys that got paid that I didn't think they were going to get paid the way they got paid.
Oh, my God. I already know
Fred
one.
VanVleet, the highest contract ever for an undrafted player.
My guy.
I give that.
My guy.
And Joe Harris.
Oh, yeah. There's another one that you're thinking of, that you're forgetting.
Oh, go ahead. Enlighten me.
Michael Jordan.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was giving them I was giving them shout outs. I was giving them guys shout outs. This goes under the fucking Paul George category. And what the fuck,
Mike? How could you have been one of the greatest athletes to ever lace them up to one of the worst GMs to ever sign a fucking contract?
That's 2 years in a row they signed bad contracts. Because I'll tell you this now. That Terry Rozier, horrible contract.
Yeah.
And now 120 for Gordon Hayward. Listen, all the rumors was the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers probably went like this. Woo.
Yeah. I'm still scratching my head at that, because what did he do this past year off of an injury that would make you say, oh no, we got to have that guy?
Listen,
I can understand when he was coming from Utah, but now?
Like, if you look at the Celtics, they were better when he didn't play.
Exactly. Oh man, that was a head scratcher. But we all know MJ is not the greatest GM, sorry.
That's horrible.
That was horrible. That was horrible. But
I mean, I guess the only thing I can say with moves like that is, like, teams like that in marketplaces like that, you gotta spend it on who you can spend it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because guys, the big guys aren't coming to Charlotte.
They're not. And that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. With you being the GOAT, how the fuck can you not get free agents in your damn building? How in the fuck is that possible? I don't get it. But moving on. The Bucks didn't do enough, in my opinion, to get Giannis to stay, one, and two, to actually compete in the East for a title. They made some splashes, but not enough splashes to get Giannis' shot didn't change overnight. He didn't become a, fucking amazing shooter overnight. He's still going to struggle. So you're still going to need to.
Did they even get a shooter?
I think they got one shooter, if I'm not mistaken.
They lost Wesley Matthews.
They lost Matthews.
The Drew Bledsoe, Eric Bledsoe for Drew Holiday for me. Am I a Holiday fan? Yes. He's a dog. He's a great defensive player. But to me, shooting wise, he's almost the same as Bledsoe. They're not great shooters.
Yeah. I agree.
All you have is Chris Middleton.
Let's see. Let me see.
I don't remember a shoot. They could have had a shooter in Bogdanovich, but that didn't work out.
That was the one that I saw was like, oh, if he goes there, that'll definitely help. That'll definitely help, but
to be honest, I agree with everything you say. I don't think they did enough.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they got Bobby Portis, DJ Augustine. That's not going to.
There's no shooters there. There's no shooters there.
And that was the problem. You didn't have someone to replace when Giannis isn't fucking scoring because we already know what to do in the playoffs with Giannis. Lock him out. Lock him out. What the fuck can he do? He's going to have to pass it. And if you can't pass it to someone is going to shoot at a high clip, you're fucked.
All right. Do you agree the one team in the East that got better did it without really making a crazy move, and that's just getting healthy, and it's the Nets?
Yes, absolutely.
They got better off the moves they made last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the sneaky pickup, and it was in a three-way trade to get Landry Shamet from the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
That boy could shoot.
Yeah, and he can play defense at times too.
Now you got him, Joe Harris, Harris LeVert.
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn got dogs.
That's the thing that people need to really understand.
Like, everybody
understand KD and Kyrie,
yeah, but their role players are ridiculous.
They got role players. And if that team can gel and not have the Kyrie syndrome effect that wherever he goes, he fucking carries with him.
It's already started.
It's already starting.
Kyrie and Brooklyn were both fined $25,000 each because he said he won't talk to media this year.
Yep, he's already starting this shit.
Kyrie doing Kyrie things.
And then that's only going to start off KD because we know how he gets in his bag. Woo! This could be a team on paper that could be so dominant and on the court be so terrible because they can't get it together because they having all these fucking dumb issues. Oh man, it's going to be interesting, but I agree with you 100% on the Nets. That's a very scary team.
And just
outside of the two stars.
Before we leave free agency, it wouldn't be us talking about basketball if we didn't bring up the New York Knicks. Listen, free agency, if I'm a Knicks fan, I wouldn't be that mad.
No.
As an outsider, I looked at it, I was like, to be honest, the Knicks had a better offseason. Why? Because they didn't spend a whole bunch of money on a guy who didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
You did the smart thing.
They did the smart thing.
A smarter free agency.
I like the picks. I like the draft picks. Got a hometown guy that's from here, knows that can probably handle the
pressure. Yeah,
the pressure. There's not much pressure in the beginning because you're still not going to be a great team.
Listen,
but you have a young team.
I like the pickup of Austin Rivers for them.
Yep, Austin Rivers. Yep, he's a guy that can put up points and be a nice, flashy guy for New York, like they need.
Yeah.
Not bad. They got a team that could progress. Hopefully, they can take the next step this year. That, as a Knicks fan, that's all I can ask for. Is just take the next step. Fuck Dolan. No, nobody even cares about him. When we talk about the Knicks, we're just talking about the Knicks. Mike Dolan is not included. So fuck you, Mike Dolan.
James.
Knicks, just for us. Take the next step. That's all. Just take the next step. And we'll be happy. We'll be happy. We already talked about the Clippers. The Heat. Do you think they made enough moves to make another run for the chip this year?
They picked up Avery Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely have a great shot. I mean, the only thing I could see that keeps the East from being open is if that Brooklyn team gels.
Yeah. That's
the only way I feel the East will be locked down, shut down, like nobody else has a shot.
Yep. 100%. If the Nets are the Nets like we expect, then it's the Nets to win it all and win the East. But if it's wide open, the Heat can make another run, like you said. They have the experience. They just went to the finals, fought well.
There's a big question mark on the East, and it all has to do with that man in Houston wants to be out of there.
And Miami is one of them. That was the next thing I was going to bring up.
His list consists of Miami, Brooklyn, which is super scary for the league, Now Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes to any of those three teams in the East, oh, and Philly.
Yep. The only thing is, if they're smart, if Houston has any fucking brains at all, you don't trade Harden without getting a star back.
Hear me out. If you want one star back, Philly's your trade. If you want a group of guys back, you trade him to Miami or Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Because Brooklyn has the role players that we all feel like if they were on another team, they'd be starters.
I agree, but
and Miami's young players showed what they can do in the playoffs. So those two teams, you can get what you can get from it.
I agree, and I think it would be a better situation as far as trading talks for Miami. I mean, for Houston to talk to Miami as far as getting role player back, because then you could put him with Jimmy Butler. Probably going to have to trade Hero, Duncan, and a few of those guys. But then you still have a core team that you can build around.
No.
With just those two.
You're talking about Miami, but what I'm talking about on Houston's standpoint, all right, I'll get Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Kendrick Nunn. Three guys. Let's compare that to what I could get from Brooklyn. Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Jared Allen.
This is my thing with Brooklyn. Even with those three, I still want Kyrie or KD.
I don't think you can trade Kyrie, Brooklyn, because
exactly.
Hear me out. Brooklyn can't trade Kyrie. Why? You only got Kevin Durant because Kyrie.
Because of him, exactly. So to me, the Brooklyn deal is pretty much done. That's not happening. Unless some magic happens, which I really hope it doesn't.
Listen.
I don't see that trade happening for all the reasons you just said.
I'll give you this now. I don't see Harden being traded this year.
I don't see him being traded at least for the first half of the year, depending on how it works in Houston. If it doesn't start working out that first half of the year, he's going to really push on, hey, just get me out of here, even if it's not Brooklyn. Get me the fuck out.
He's good enough to carry Brooklyn into a playoff spot. I mean, Houston to a playoff team. So I think if he's moved the next offseason.
Yeah. I don't know, though. I don't know. I think the way that he's been acting lately, it seems like he's really trying to get out of there. They already showed a picture of him at practice, and he was not interested. Him and I forgot who it was.
Was it defensive drills?
Tucker sitting there like this during practice.
Yeah,
they were not interested at all. And Stack has something to say about that. Steven Jackson has something to say about that. He was not happy with him.
They could have just been talking about defense, and we know how Harden cares about defense. Anywho, yeah, back to what you said with Miami. Like I said, they have the best chance, if anybody, in the East to take it.
They do. Mavericks. What do you think of them? Do you think they can take that next step with Luka? And they made some moves. They got rid of Steph Curry, but
I didn't like that.
I liked it because of the person they replaced it with. I like Steph Curry, and he played amazing, especially in the bubble.
Steph Curry played great in the playoffs.
He did.
The whole thing with Dallas is if Porzingis is healthy enough to help Luka out. If Porzingis can stay his ass on the court, Dallas will be tough. They're going to be a tough matchup for anybody.
Dallas might beat the Clippers in the first round if KP stays healthy.
That's a fact.
That's how serious it was. But I like the addition of Josh Richardson because he's not as good as a shooter as Steph Curry, but he can also play. He can shoot and he can play defense. So that adds something to that aspect for that team that they needed, especially against the top teams that they're going to need more defensive players on that squad. The Nuggets, they didn't really make much moves, but they're just going to be just as good as they were last year.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Players. They lost Jeremy Grant. They lost
They did.
Mason Plumlee. I mean, he's a backup center, but that's
Right.
somebody who gives you rebounding while this Jokic is on the bench. So I think they might. I see them being the same, or maybe just a little step back. That's it.
Maybe. Uh, I can see that. I can see that. Um, Celtics, a team that every year it's like, when are you guys going to take that next step? Because you took a huge step a couple years ago, and you just weren't able to get back to that. And you added all these pieces, and it's like, what's going on?
I don't know.
You got a superstar now. Jason Tatum is a superstar.
I don't know if
that boy can ball.
I don't know if any of our listeners remember us talking about last year's season before the season started, and I mentioned if the Clippers don't get it done, do they move on from Doc? And we start having that talk about Brad Stevens.
Good point.
He's had this team for how long, and they still they don't take. We've seen you in the conference finals. When are you going to get to the finals?
That's true. Or back to the conference final at least. That's a good point. I agree. They gotta take that next step because Jason Tatum is a superstar, and he's lighting it up. And you got to do something like it. Just paid him big money.
And to somebody else, like a bunch of guys, like Jaylen Brown, baller.
Kemba Walker.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah, it's gonna.
For them
you
to
got to do something with that.
Like, and that's another thing. That's a team that you expect to see to be a number 1 seed.
Right.
For them, they'll usually be the 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, a team that has a lot of questions going into their season because no one really knows how this is going to work out. The 76ers. They made some front office moves with getting Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, but they still have their 2 best players, but they're 2 headaches because they don't play well together. One can't shoot and is afraid to shoot. One can't take the game as serious as he needs to, but he's one of the most dominant players in the league. They got a lot of issues, and with bringing in Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers tells me 2 things. One, with Daryl Morey, he did everything he could and that he had the power to do to try to win James Harden the championship. Is he going to bring that same energy to the Sixers? The second question is with Daryl Morey is, who is he going to build this team around? Is it going to be around Ben Simmons? Or is it going to be around Joel Embiid? That's going to be something that he's going to have to look at because we all said it. It just hasn't been done yet. They're going to try to do it this year and try to make it work with Doc Rivers. But one of those 2 are going to have to go. And then that's when you can start the process of building around whoever it is. My personal pick, Ben Simmons, is going to have to go. Build around Embiid. That's just my personal take. But now, Doc Rivers, his first year there is going to be a fucking headache because he's going to have to put that all together. And for a coach that's used to a winning culture, even though he's had his horrible, years, he's going to have to go into kind of, I don't want to call it a rebuild, but a rebuild of a culture in Philly. And that's the first year. That's never easy to do, especially when you got 2 players that aren't connecting well. So that's going to be a big task for him. He's going to try to make it work. I think he's a good coach and could possibly make it work, but I'm done with the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid experiment. I'm done with it. Move one of them. Let's move on from this. I'm done. Doc Rivers, have fun trying it, but it can only make your career look worse, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts, E?
There's not much else for me to say. I agree with everything. Like, I felt like that team has always been built bad. Simmons and Embiid aren't a match for each other.
Yeah.
Daryl Morey did a little better with bringing in some shooters and Curry. If Danny Green could find a little bit of his Toronto self, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't like the fit, and like I agree with you. I think the player to build around is Embiid because he has all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with him is just staying healthy.
Yep. Absolutely.
Simmons talented? Yes, but when your other star is a 7-foot center, having a 6'10" point guard doesn't really help you because the 6'10" point guard can't fucking shoot.
It sure doesn't help at all. But yeah, Philly's going to have a lot of things that they're going to need to work out in the next few seasons. But before we go on to making our picks, there's three teams that I want to talk about real quick.
Okay, before we do that, let's talk about the trade.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the trade.
That's exactly where I was going.
Let's get into the trade.
That's the two teams out that were in.
Two
of them were Washington and he.
If there ever was a trade for almost the same person, it would be this trade.
Yep.
John Wall for Russell
Absolutely,
Westbrook.
Yep.
John Wall for Russell Westbrook is almost a wash of wash. Do they have differences to their game? Absolutely. John Wall's more of a pass-first point guard, and Russ is just Russ.
Yeah.
But like offensively, neither of them are great shooters. Their game is basically getting to the basket.
Yep.
They're not great defenders. So to me, I'll say it now. The loser of this trade, Bradley Beal.
I think you're right 100% on that one. If anyone lost, it was Bradley Beal because now he has to be witness
his shots
to Russell Westbrook running his show his way. And there's a lot of players that know how that feels. And you're just next in line. So
I'll put it like this.
He can still flourish though in that offense with Russ.
I put it like this. John Wall will help Harden's game more than Russ will help Beal's game.
Agreed. And another thing, don't sleep on that Rockets team because
they're sneaky. They're scared. They're sneaky.
They're a sneaky good team. Besides the holes like at power forward, I mean at center and John Wall and Boogie's played together at Kentucky.
Yeah, but
so they can try to get that juice back.
I understand, but I wanted Boogie to re-sign with the Lakers.
I did too.
We didn't know. We don't know what kind of Boogie we're gonna get. The guy hasn't played in 2 years. Do we think he can go and start a game in the NBA right now? No, he needs to come off the bench. What I think might hurt the Rockets is you lost Robert Covington.
Yeah, that was huge.
You lost that possibility of that stretch forward. Granted, CJ Tucker don't have to play center no more. Now he can move back to power forward.
Back to his norm. Instead of getting beat up by big ass 7-footers and shit all day. Another team that made a big splash, and I was very happy to see this splash for both parties, the Suns. Getting CP3. We saw what Phoenix did in the bubble. Only team that go undefeated in the bubble. Unfortunately, they were a game or two short of making the playoffs. Booker, Ayton, I think they got a draft pick as well that was pretty decent. That looks like a team that can make some noise in the West. Not the top seed, but the bottom seed. I think they can make a noise in that 6 to 7, 8 range. especially with CP. People want to discount CP because he's getting old and things like that, but we just seen what he did
No.
with a team that had 0.5% of making the playoffs last year. And that was all due to CP3 because, of course, they had the talent there, but he orchestrated that talent. Now, you give Booker somebody that can orchestrate an offense and get him the ball where he needs the ball and let him go off when he needs to go off. There's no better point guard on the market right now than CP to do that for him. And they get the ball for Ayton and his progression as a upcoming guy in the game as a center. So I think that was a big move for the Suns, and I think they're going to make a splash in the West and towards that bottom seed.
Yeah, I mean, to me, is it a good move? Yes, but being for what they gave up, and in all understandably, you have to give up when you get it, shit like that. But I see them at best a 7 seed. They just don't have enough yet to get with the big dogs in the West.
The West is still stacked regardless of it, right? It's they made a splash, but it's not enough.
Their splash to me puts them. You could say it puts them ahead of the Grizzlies, Pelicans, and maybe the Blazers a little bit.
Right. It puts them in the conversation to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they were already in that conversation last year towards the end. So adding him, I think that only puts it up a little bit more. One more that I had to add in there before we go into our picks is the Hawks.
Yes, what did you think about the Hawks? I like it. Sneaky good team. I think they're going to be a sneaky good team. They've made a lot of nice pickups to help build around Trae Young. I think being Rondo there is a good veteran to have for them.
Hey.
That Rondo's veteran leadership will help them. Bogdanovich, who can fucking score the ball. They got them boys in Atlanta are gonna be good.
They gonna be good, man. They gonna be good. They made a lot of noise, and it was the noise they needed to do, especially when you got a guy like Trae Young that can light it up, and then you added another guy that can light it up, and then you got a guy that is gonna give those guys the ball free will. Come on, that's Christmas. That's Christmas for those guys.
Good team. I'm gonna tell you this now. That team to me, if they click. You see how Indiana always finds a way into the playoffs? Yeah. That could be Atlanta.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that happening. I can that. Woo. That's a
I like that team.
Gonna be interesting, boy.
That team.
All right. So now to the last segment of the show. Our playoff picks. 1 through 8, West, East. Who's going to play in the 2021 NBA playoffs? Let's start off in the East. Starting off at number 1. Who you got?
All right. I gave him hell just before. I'm going to give it to them because I feel like to me, it's a do or die season for them. Like, they got to take the next step. So it's going to be the Celtics.
Okay. I like that. I wasn't expecting it. But I like it. Celtics at number 1. Well, since you got the Celtics at number 1, it's not a shock that this is 1. Look, I'll put it this way. I'm going to put an asterisk on this because this is the too early to call, obviously, and we got to see how this team progresses. But if this team progresses, there's no question the Nets will be number 1.
Absolutely.
No question. But I like the bold pick there. I like the bold pick there.
On paper, the easy answer is Brooklyn, and it should be Brooklyn.
Right.
But the only reason I gave it thought, and listen, with new teams, with superstars like that, there's always that little bit of struggle that hits.
Absolutely.
And the shit with Boston is they've been together.
Yep. Number 2, who you got?
That'll be my Brooklyn pick.
All right.
Come on, let's not get crazy now and think I'm going to have Brooklyn coming in on the 5th seed.
I had
his name. His name is Kevin Durant.
That's right. You damn right. I got Bucks at 2. Only reason why I have Bucks at 2 is because they're going to do what they do in the regular season. That's expected. Giannis will put up numbers that we never seen before and all this type of shit. but it's not going to be enough. So they'll do what they do in the regular season. I wouldn't be surprised if they got the number 2 seed. So that's my number 2 seed. Number 3. Who you got? Bucks?
Them dogs in South Beach.
Woo, I like it. I
got the dogs.
I like it. Because that was my number 3 pick, too. Them boys in South Beach.
I got to give them that credit for last season. They showed heart and just being a dog. Like, you got to give it to them.
Gotta give it to them. There's no way I couldn't put them past 3. They showed it. They got everybody's respect. They definitely
got the best, and I'll give you this. They got the best head coach in the league, not named Pop.
Yep. Absolutely. That's facts. At 4, I got the Celtics. You had them at 1. Who you got at 4?
That's where the Bucks slipped to me.
Okay. I like it. We had our top 4 is the same teams, just switched around.
Yeah, now we're on the same level.
Yeah, we're on the same link. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Now, the reason why I got the Celtics at 4 is because it's pretty much the same reason with the Bucks. That's just where they always end up in the process, and I'm not yet ready to put them at 1 where you got them. To make that progress, I gotta see it first. If I start to see it, then I'm like, all right, you know what? He's on to something. But for me, they just keep disappointing me each and every year with not progressing as far as getting to the finals or things like that. Number 5. This is where it starts to get interesting. Number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Who's gonna make these top spots or those bottom 4 spots? What do you got? 5?
Number 5 for me, I'm like flip-flop between them right now, between 2 teams. I'll give the edge just because of the star power to Philly.
Okay.
But I'm like with them, so I'll give you my 6th seed as I say it, Indiana.
Okay. I like it.
I know you thinking I'm missing a team, but there's a reason why they haven't made the list yet.
Okay.
And I'll get to it when I say it. So 5, I got Philly.
Philly, I agree. Philly, I got Philly for the same reasons. But that can go either way. That team can be from 5 to out of the playoffs if shit don't work out, or at 8 or something.
That team, like, to me, it wouldn't shock me if like a month before the season ends, they're at the 8th seed.
Right, exactly. And especially like how you mentioned early, Embiid missing half the season every fucking year, that can play a role into it. So that's going to be something to be looking at for that team. Number 6, who you got?
Indiana.
Oh yeah, you said Indiana.
That team is consistently always there in the playoffs. It don't matter who they got, what star player, it doesn't matter. They always find a way to be in the playoffs.
I agree with you, and I wanted to put them back up where they've been at 4 and 5. And I just was like, this year.
Listen, with Brooklyn being healthy hurts a lot.
Right. There's this past year made me not because of what they did or lack of what they did.
Yeah, but the fact that you got
other teams, right?
You got a team coming in with probably one of the top 3 scorers to ever fucking play.
Right, exactly. So this is nothing against the Pacers. They're still going to be a playoff team, I believe. I just think
to me, they're a 6 seed who's not going to be an easy elimination.
So with that being said, I got the Pacers at 7. My 6 is the Hawks.
Ooh, I like that.
The Hawks. I think they're gonna be that good to where they're going to shock a lot of teams this year and slip up into that 6th spot, maybe even the 5 spot and topping the 76ers. I can see that. So how you had your Celtics at number 1, that was the big shock. My big shock is the Hawks at 6.
For me, not too much because I'll lead into it. They're my 7.
Okay. We got them flip flop.
Yeah, I listen. I like that team. I like what they did there. They got a lot of young talent who are good.
Yep, absolutely. Who will be the last team in the East?
Who's your 7 though? Who's your 7?
Pacers.
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 Last
Yeah,
team
we
in
had.
the East,
Yep.
Toronto.
Toronto.
Do they have? Are they still good? Are they a good team? Yes. Kyle Lowry, veteran. Fred VanVleet can go get it. Spicy P, he's good. He has a better shot than Giannis. But
Right.
to me, they lost two key role players in Ibaka and Gasol.
Yeah.
How do you feel that front court now?
Yeah. That's gonna be
That's where I
tough.
think they got hurt.
They got hurt big at that. And just to think about it, they went from number 2 down to 8. Damn.
My big thing is they lost so much without. If they would have plugged some more pieces in, I'd be like, all right, those guys are pretty much the same, but the Ibaka is gonna hurt them the most.
Right. I agree. Now moving on to the West side, with the champions, like we obviously know what our number 1 pick is. I won't even say it. Just look at it, read it. You know the vibes.
There's no shock there.
No shock there. And I would love to hear, please, in the comments, if you have anybody else at number 1, please leave it in the comments because I would love to have a conversation.
You lucky I don't have that. You lucky I don't have that sound bit on deck of Shannon Sharp to play it.
I would love to have a conversation with your drunk ass if you don't got the Lakers at number 1. But we'll get to that when the day comes. Number 2. Who you got?
Number 2.
This is an interesting one.
Because I could be a hater.
I was waiting for this to come out.
I can do it, but I'll give Kawhi his credit. And I'll say they'll find a way to be number 2. Just because Denver lost a key role player.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the West, don't get me wrong, the West, we pretty much know what the West is. But the top of the West has been the top of the West.
Right.
Lakers, Clippers, Denver. The Lakers have just took so much of the bigger step to be the clear number 1. So number 2 is the Clippers.
I agree.
But it's not an easy, it's not a, to
right.
me, it's not a 1 and 2. It's 1 and it's 2.
Exactly.
The gap is big.
Exactly. It's a huge gap. I agree. Clippers at 2. But I could, if that thing doesn't work out, I can easily see them slipping down to 3 or 4.
I'll give you this. If Michael Porter shows what he was in the bubble, I can see Denver being easy number 2.
Yep. Which brings me to number 3, the Nuggets. I got the Nuggets number 3, and it was like because what you pointed out earlier with what they're missing and the question of Michael Porter getting in that number 2 seat. But you know, that 3 is just what fits them.
Yeah.
Every year. It just fits them. They're always sitting at number 3. So I think there were 2, maybe 1 year, a couple of years ago. Number 4, you had Nuggets at 3 as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, Mavs. And my number, well, I might as well say my number 5 is the Rockets.
We here.
Yep.
Here.
The Mavs and Rockets could be like this. I got these 2 teams, and I got an asterisk around both of them because health, they added some guys, but still we got to see how that works out. But Luka's a fucking dog, and we know he's gonna show out. And we just still got to see what the Rockets are going to be. Are they going to have James Harden? Are they not? Is John Wall going to be back to John Wall, Boogie Cousins? That all is questions that are going to be filled out within the next few months. So 4 and 5, I'm like this way.
5 isn't the Nuggets for me.
Who?
5 is Utah for me.
Ooh. Wait, who was 4? Oh, okay. I thought. Okay.
Yeah, 5 for me is Utah just because they're pretty much the same team coming back. Let's be honest. they were a shot away from not allowing Denver
Yeah.
to play the Clippers.
Yep. True
And
that.
everybody talks about all these performances in the bubble. Donovan Mitchell balled his ass off in these playoffs.
Boss. And got paid for it, as he should.
You know, so I'm gonna give it to them, and then I'll lead into 6, and that'll be my Houston pick, 6.
Okay, I like that. And I also say this. I can also say, I kind of touched on this earlier. I can see the Rockets still climbing up and being a 4 or possibly 3 if those 3 can gel.
Yeah.
If those 3 can gel, that could be a scary team. I really believe that.
Hear me out. Before you even
but you said, go ahead.
You know how they'll gel? This is how they'll gel. John Wall, Boogie Cousins, and Harden all just take their regular trips to the same strip club, and they'll be all right.
Pow, 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 pow. Shots are still coming, baby. You know how we do. We started off like that. 6. You said you had the Rockets.
Yeah.
I got the Jazz there.
Okay, makes sense.
I got them at 6. Yep.
The top.
7. Suns, baby. Oh, you got the Blazers. Okay.
I gotta give Dame his credit.
I struggled with that.
All right. You see how the East for us is wide open?
Right.
For me, when it comes to the West, that's 7 through 8. So, all right. After we give our final 8, I want us to each give 2 or 3 that can contend on each conference. All right.
Yep.
But with stuff like that, you got Dame, CJ, Melo played his ass off. Nurkic is back. They got picking up Robert Covington was big. Gary Trent was shooting the fucking lights out in the playoffs. Like
Melo turned into Melo.
If Dame and CJ's healthy, they can be a 6 or 5 seed.
Yeah. I agree. I think we're on the same page there. You got Blazers at 7.
You got Phoenix.
I had Blazers at 7. I almost went with the Suns, but I gotta wait and see how that looks first. But there's no way I couldn't put them in the playoffs. So the Suns at 8. There's no way I couldn't put the Suns at.
I'll agree, and I'll give the Suns 8. But I flip-flop, and I guess this is what will lead into almost playoff honorable mentions.
Yep.
And the 3 teams for me from the West, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the fucking Kings. Kings was scary good. They paid De'Aaron Fox what he deserves. Like,
he got his money. But
to me, out of those 3 teams, the one that's the scariest has got to be the Pelicans.
Yes. Yeah. No question. Pelicans. They have. Now they're gonna have a full season with Zion. Hopefully.
They have the strongest front court with Zion and Steven Adams.
Exactly. Steven Adams, big ass. Yeah, that's a team that can.
Can you imagine the pick and rolls that somebody like Lonzo is going to be able to run and just throw a fucking lob?
Yep. I'll add one more team.
I feel bad for whoever got to chase JJ Redick around screens because you're going to be beat up.
Yeah, you're going to be bruised. You're going to be fucked up. That's facts. Another team that I would not be shocked if they were in the running playoffs.
He didn't mention them.
Golden State.
Matter of fact, I'll change my pick. I'm giving them the 8th seed.
You getting Golden State the 8th seed?
I'm giving Golden State the 8th seed. I forgot they're going to have Steph Curry, Draymond. I mean, not having Clay knocks them out of the top 3.
Right, of course.
Let's be honest. If this was a healthy Golden State,
we definitely would have had
that. Might be my number 2.
Right, exactly.
But I think they're going to bowl this year. I like Kelly Oubre as a decent role player for them, but if Steph shows he's Steph, they're going to be a playoff team.
Exactly, and I like that pickup in the draft. Was it Wiseman that they got?
Yes, James Wiseman.
That was a great pickup for them. I think they can make more. I think that's a team that's going to be running for that 8th seed for sure. So Pelicans, definitely another one.
It just goes to show you what one injury to a key guy can do for you.
Yeah. It's important.
Just to refresh mine, my 8th will be Golden State, and then my honorable mentions will be Phoenix, Grizzlies, Kings, and Pelicans. Over for the East, almost playoff teams. This week it's a little hard because, like, the 8th seed is usually a bad team in the East.
A horrible.
You gotta mention like Orlando.
Yep.
And I'll say it, even though we gave them hell for the signing, Charlotte's a sneaky good young team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Devontae Graham's been playing.
I like the LaMelo pick. I like the LaMelo pick.
Yep, absolutely.
I like that pickup. And the only other team that you can probably say, but you just don't know what you get out of them, is Detroit.
Detroit? Okay.
Maybe. If Blake can stay healthy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm shocked you didn't say this team. I thought you would have mentioned this team. Wizards. I think with a healthy, think about it. This is a team that hasn't had John Wall in the past 2 years. He's on the roster. He just hasn't played. And Bradley Beal, he's been playing amazing. Now, obviously, you add Russ to that, and it's going to bring down your play maybe a little bit. But 2 is better than 1. And they also have a pretty good center. So, and some decent pieces around there. I think that's a team that could, again, they're still going to be terrible, but this is the East we're talking about. You can be terrible and make the AFC, or at least be fighting for it. So yeah, I can see.
I agree. I agree with you.
I can see the Wizards being there, and then all the teams that you mentioned, Magic, who made it last year. Even the Bulls can make a run.
I just feel like the shit with, like, especially a player like Russ, you'll get the most out of Russ when he's the only guy on the team.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. No question. But other than that, those are our picks. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this?
Nah.
That's it. So obviously you guys are going to be seeing our faces a lot more because the NBA season is right around the corner. December 22nd, Lakers, Clippers, banners, MVPs, trophies, rings. It's coming out. Stay tuned. It's your boy Jones, Ian J. Full Court Shot. Peace.